Inside the Artist's Mind. Welcome to Inside the Artist's Mind with your hosts, Jay Harmon and Sally Barnard. Jay and Sally have always wondered what the inspiration is that drives others to create and express their art. Inside the Artist's Mind, we'll dive into the mind of the artist and teach us more than we ever knew. Enjoy the show!
Hey there, and welcome to Inside the Artist's Mind, where we look at creative people inside their minds, where they come up with ideas, what they do with them, and how they formulate it, and what the final project is. And that is kind of the whole theme of our show. And my name is Jay Harmon, and this is Sally Barnard. And I would like to say, first of all, that Sally today is wearing her artwork.
Yes, I am. This is my artwork.
So this is
one of many pieces that I'm going to have a grand opening in
I
about
know,
a month
so I
and
think
a
that's
half.
great. You know,
Thank you. Yes.
And so we have a great show for you today. Our guest today is my good friend, Dawn DeMarco-Book.
Yes.
And she is the host of Speaking Spiritually?
Nope.
Faith.
Nope.
Face stories.
Face Stories. Okay, I was close.
Roundabout.
Yeah, okay.
I was going to interrupt him, but I said, I know you will, so that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course, you know me.
And,
I didn't mean that rudely, though.
Oh, yeah, no.
but today she's going to talk to us about her artwork that she has created, and it's all, everything's coming up roses.
No, she didn't.
Well, actually, it's not artwork. I know this can confuse you, but
Yeah.
no.
Well, that looks like artwork to me.
It is artwork, but there's a reason behind. There's a message, yes.
I can't wait for the story.
I know,
I
so-
remember when I first met you. It's so interesting. So.
Yeah, so I had a jewelry company prior to Rosie's Garden. And with Rosie's Garden, it came into fruition because I had about 6 women who wanted to help me get to that next level. And so what happened was in June of 2013, I sat with one of those ladies and she said to me, Dawn, you need to have like a quote unquote catch, right? And so we started brainstorming and I said, you know what, let me go home. I want to pray about it. And I remember laying on my bed. It's so vivid. Laying on my bed and I'm just laying there going, God, what is it that you want me to do? You know, I have all these amazing women who want to help me. And all I heard was garden. Okay, that was it. 2013, June. Fast forward to April of 2014, I gather all these women together. We start talking, we're brainstorming. You know, I forgot about that, you know, and they're like, okay, you need to do this from scratch because the old jewelry company, what I did was I had elements that were already in existence, whereas this was something I had to draw out. And so as we were brainstorming, I said, you know what? I remember God telling me garden. And then we started talking garden, flowers, and then it was Rose and Rosie, which is my niece who was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer at the age of 11 and a half. And she fought for 2.5 years and she lost her battle. And so it all became about my niece, Rosie. And so it's Rosie's Garden. And so the journey began, right? They gave me the what I needed to do next. So I went home and I started drawing. Now, I used to be a good drawer, but I never cultivated that craft. And so I was like, you know, tracing stuff, but I got the gist of what I wanted to do. And I knew I wanted to create a rose that was 3-dimensional. That was very important to me. So I come back and I had drawn out probably about 13 different pieces. Sweets is what they call it.
And roses are not easy to draw, believe me. I've done several.
Right. So what happened was when we came back and I showed them the collection, they're like, okay, great. So now what's next? Now, mind you, I've never done this before, right? I just know what I like. And so I started researching jewelry companies to create this rose. And it literally, I started at sunrise. I had the gentleman tell me, no one will do what you need, what you want. It's too intricate. You might as well forget it. And I looked at him and I said, I'm not going to forget it because God told me this is what I need to do. And then I went to a couple more. And then I ended up going to New York in February of 2015. That was mighty cold, I might add. And I met with the jewelry manufacturer. I gave him one of my designs, and he worked on it probably for about 6 months. And then he said, yeah, I can't do this. I'm like, okay. So then a friend of mine said, I want you to meet with who I highly recommend. If you need a good jeweler, Cristino's in Boca on Federal and Camino Real, I think it is. Anyway, awesome. I went to see him, and he said, Dawn, I want you to go to Miami, and I have this guy, and I think he can really help you. And I said, okay. So I trot down to Miami, and I meet with this guy, and he's like, yeah, totally. We can do this. We can do this. Okay, so no. He's like, let me send it to my guy who does florals, right?
Squirrels?
Florals.
Oh, floral. I was
No,
gonna say,
squirrel.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't want to. Squirrels? No. But that's all right.
Florals. So, and I'm telling him I want it three-dimensional, and so what happened was, I gave him probably another 4 months, and just it wasn't correlating to what I wanted. And so what I did was I went home and I sat in my living room and I said, Lord, you want me to do this? You need to provide the company for me to do this. And don't you know, literally my girlfriend's name popped into my head because I remember her ex-husband worked for Levinson Jewelers. And so she reached out to him. She texted me a name. Do you know, he literally, the company that created it for me a long time ago, not that long, but because it's like over 2 years now. And I called him. He said, please come in. And I said, okay, great. And so I go in, and he brings his dad in because his dad is the one that does. He's the amazing artist, right? And I tell him, look, I want it three-dimensional, and he's like, I can do that. He says, my dad did some work for Harry Winston. That was like, hallelujah, right? Because it's a high jewelry, and high jewelry is more expensive, right? Yeah. And so that's what we did, and we worked on actually this piece. And what happened was Jacob, his son, said to me, Dawn, I need you to do a drawing for me. So I had to decide what the rose looked like. So I reached out to my friend Barb Capoletti, and I asked her, can you draw me some roses? She probably should have said no, because she literally sent me probably about 40 minimum she drew for me. And I finally landed on this rose, right? And so when Jacob asked me for a drawing, this is what she did for me. And I told her I want them organic, the leaves, and we cut out little sections of these leaves, and it was crazy.
Wow.
I mean, the time that went into this piece alone was amazing.
I can imagine. Wow, that's
and it's amazing because we often talk, and I also on my show talk about passion. Passion. If you follow your passion, which my goodness, one thing. It happens. It does. Higher power, whatever you want to call it. It's fascinating because I love hearing these stories. Yeah. You didn't give up, Dawn. You didn't give up, and that's what's so incredible.
That's the key.
That's the key.
And it would have been so easy for me to give up because every turn that I took, I was hitting a wall, and I was hitting people telling me, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. And I'm like, God didn't give this to me to quit. And so I kept going and I kept going. And so the collection, what happened was all these women ended up dropping out with the exception of one, and my business partner, Michelle Esposito, she said, you know, I've come along, you know, can we do this together? And I said, yes, absolutely. And then she suggested us, you know, instead of doing this big collection that I did, because you're talking, you know, 20 to 60, $70,000 a piece, right? Yeah, because I'm talking diamonds, pave diamonds, full pave.
Right.
Yeah, so the collection is high jewelry, and so what happened was I lost my train of thought.
Really?
Yes. Oh, okay. I got it. It came back to me.
Okay.
So she said, Dawn,
course.
why don't we create some pieces that, you know, won't be that high end, that it's still going to be 18 karat gold. And we just did smaller roses. And so we did a small, medium, and large. And this piece that I have on is the
Is that
large.
the larger one?
That's-
Okay.
this is the large
yes,
one.
Yes.
And
Very
we,
pretty.
we sell this for $6,000.
Beautiful.
And it's 18 karat. Each rose is numbered.
Okay.
which is
that's
very
it.
cool,
Yes, that is.
right?
Yes, that is. Yes,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. And then what we also do is the Rosie Foundation, which again is in honor of my niece, and we give money to children with cancer and animal rescue. Each rose that's sold, we donate 10% to the Rosie Foundation. So it's
That's beautiful, Dawn, and how it all came about. And I didn't want to interrupt you in it, but
No,
you know
please
what?
do.
Some of the people, how it all falls together,
Mm-hmm.
it has more meaning behind it. When you see each one of these, it's like steps along the way,
Right.
right? And some people, yes, they may not carry on,
Right.
but that's what makes it even more real and more interesting and more meaningful.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean that they're not interested, but that you still continued. And
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing story.
Well, yeah, and it's, I mean, you're talking 10 years.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and you know, we haven't, and we've bootstrapped everything. So we don't have an investor. We literally sell a rose and then we put it back into the company. And then we create another rose. And so that's how we got to the 3 sizes, because I had one friend of mine, she saw the medium size rose. And I knew she was going to buy it because she shared with me, and this is what's so cool about the rose, is she shared with me that her mom loved roses and had a rose garden in Coral Springs, and she was going to pass it down to her niece, and that's what this is about.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
it's an heirloom that you can pass down.
Yes.
It's not just a piece of jewelry. Yes, it's absolutely beautiful. And each rose is handcrafted. It's not like stamped out. I had someone compare me to another designer who is awesome and phenomenal, but his roses are more molded. Whereas if you see the intricacy
recognize that.
of the
Right,
rose
right.
in this, it's 3-dimensional. That was my intent,
Right.
is to have it 3-dimensional.
And you stuck to that, and it's amazing. Do you have other pieces of jewelry? It was just roses.
It's just the
Yeah,
rose.
that's
It's
even-
just
that
all
makes
about
it
the
even more
rose.
special.
Yes. And yeah, and so, you know, if anybody wants to talk to me about purchasing one, you know, again, remember, it's a commodity. So if I have it in inventory, I can give you a price based on what I have. But if you want me to purchase, because this sucker is heavy, you guys.
Right, right.
It's a lot of gold, and we all know gold has shot up tremendously.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So
So if somebody
ahead.
wanted to purchase one, but they wanted to have it specially made, you can do that.
absolutely. I do bespoke jewelry, which is basically what you're saying. They can tell me, oh, I'd like this, this, and this. You know, in fact, this ring right here, I created from my watch.
I was looking at that earlier. Yeah, it's
Yes.
very pretty. Yeah.
And the other thing that we're offering, you can do lab diamonds, which are diamonds created in a lab. So what does that mean? It's the same as a mine diamond. It's just in a controlled environment instead of the mine diamonds, which now you're looking at, you know, little kids are going in to mine these diamonds.
Really?
And I personally, and the fraction of the cost is so much
So
greater.
they're actually becoming very, well, popular word is, I guess. Yes, I was
Yes.
listening the other day about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. It's like I want to get the medium-sized rose in the lab diamonds
Oh,
and
that would
full
be
pave. Yeah.
beautiful,
So
beautiful.
I don't have the funds completely yet,
That's
but
really-
again,
yeah.
that will come.
So this all, how many years ago did this?
It started in it started in 2013. The conversation with
Yeah.
all my
11
friends.
Prior to that, my question actually was, so it's quite a way back, but
Yeah.
prior to that, did you have any idea that you'd ever be doing something like this?
No, because I was designing jewelry and I was actually
Okay.
raising money for charity with that company. And God just said, okay, this is what I want you to do now. And so I stopped designing that jewelry several years back because physically I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm just like, I can't. And now my hands are, the arthritis and all that kind of stuff, which is not fun.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So.
It's just, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's such a fabulous story. I love how it all came to fruition,
I know.
and God is right in the middle of it.
Oh my gosh, you guys, that's the other thing. When I met the company that created this initially, we have another company that's doing it now, but when I went in there, I found out that they were Christians, and that made my heart sing too, because I'm very strong in my faith. But when, and I'm telling you guys, going back and forth with them and creating the first rose, when they gave it to me, I sat there and didn't say a word.
Oh.
Did not say a word. And they're like, Dawn, do you like it?
Right, right.
I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I got emotional
Yeah,
and I started to
I
cry.
feel you even as
You know?
telling the
Yeah.
story. I feel that.
It was like,
It's
it-
like a dream
over-
came true.
right. It was overwhelming. And so, and just knowing what God, the vision that God gave me, and then drawing it out. Well, Barb drew it out for me.
So many people, going back to maybe other people that have had these things happen to them, that most important, and I always try to stress this, is if you believe in it, you've got to believe in it, and it will come your way. It
Yeah.
will.
Yeah,
I mean,
But you have to work at it.
but
Right.
that was exactly what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
you have to-
It's put there,
Right.
but it's up to us to put the steps.
Hello.
Right.
And there's your story.
Right.
Exactly your story.
You have to believe in it and be persistent.
Exactly,
Exactly.
Jay.
And that's-
because so many people give up along
They
the
do,
way.
they
Say,
do.
this is too difficult. This is taking too long. There's no such thing as it really taking too long. It depends, Yes, maybe at my age you might, but 40 years maybe. But you have to have the patience too. You've got to have the faith that it's going to come about.
Right. And
So-
and there were times that I was like, really, God, seriously, hello.
I know.
Help me out here. And he did. He
I
always
know.
does.
Well, that's the thing is, you said you couldn't find anybody to do it, and then when you went to God, then He found you somebody.
Well, yeah,
when
Hello.
when you don't know what to do, ask God. He'll
Well, and I should have done that all along, but it was just like, I was at my wit's end, and that's the one thing that I can share is, being a woman, a person of faith, sitting down and spending time with Him and asking Him, what do you want me to do? You gave this to me. Help me. And He did. It was like instantaneous.
And it's, people will say, well, how do we know? But you know what? It's a feeling. It's a gut feeling that you have. Just know that it's going to be okay too.
Yeah.
And it does work. It's the persistence. It's the passion. This
It's
is how
all
we
of
can
that,
tell.
Sally.
It's every piece of that. Yeah, it's all individually, each one. But we get so many things when if you get the excitement, because you're showing look at the excitement.
know.
When you
I know.
saw it, you cried. That's,
Oh, gosh,
that's a passion.
Me speechless is big.
Yes, but that gives you the answers.
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel your passion.
Yeah.
I feel what this has meant to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you had sadness along the way because.
But that's what. See, I wanted to honor my niece,
Yes,
Rosie,
exactly.
and I didn't know her that well, you guys. She lived 3,000 miles away,
Yeah.
but she made such an impact on me, the little that I knew her. But when I went out for her memorial service, and I heard all these people talk about my niece, and I thought, I want to be more like Rosie,
Yeah.
and and I was just so blown away by her, you know, and yeah, I just wanted to honor her.
Well, what I really find interesting here is the process of working together with someone else to do it. I mean,
Right.
you had the idea,
The vision.
You had the vision.
Yes,
You
yes.
had this, but transferring that to someone else.
Oh my God, right?
to-
Well, see, and that was
create it.
the biggest challenge is I had no clue what I was doing. Seriously. And doing the research and going to talk to different people and people shooting me down left and right. Let me tell you. And I've had people say, you know, this is really beautiful, but no one's going to make it for you. I had many people say that to me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you're wrong. And they're
This is all
wrong.
part of this wonderful story that you have because you never gave up.
No.
It has
Right.
more meaning in a way. I mean, yes,
Right.
it could have happened within a few months, but the meaning
Years,
behind
girl,
you know
years.
what? No, but the meaning behind it, Dawn, is what makes this so incredible because you didn't give up. You persevered, and you've got this most beautiful
Yeah.
jewelry today.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it's a rose, and it's honoring your niece.
Right.
How much better can that be?
I
right?
know,
Yeah.
I know. And that's the thing. It's like a rose, there's a lot of rose jewelry out there. But when I tell people the story, they're like, whoa, you know, that's incredible. And that we give back. And that, to me, I've always been like that. I've always wanted to help people. And so that's what we do.
And also what's coming to me too is the feeling that when someone has bought that and they know this story behind it, I mean, it brings joy to that person.
Exactly.
And that's how it goes on and to the next one
Perpetuates.
and to
Yep.
the next one. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. It's an
Right.
incredible
I know,
story.
because
it
it's not-
doesn't just stop there.
No.
Yeah, it's not just a piece of jewelry.
Exactly. It's
Exactly.
a
you know?
meaningful
Yeah,
piece of jewelry.
And I guess I would hope that each time they buy one, you would have the background information
Yeah.
that goes
Yeah,
with it,
that-
because
I
that
saw.
means so much.
I know. Well, see, that's what I did with
And
my
then
old
they'll tell
company, too.
somebody else, and then they'll tell.
Exactly.
The story doesn't stop.
No,
It's-
I know.
That's
That's what's so
incredible.
amazing. Yeah, I know.
yeah,
It's
crazy, isn't it?
incredible.
Beautiful, beautiful
Thank you.
story.
I think that's great. I see you're wearing roses on your dress today too.
Oh yes,
That's,
I figured I'd go full
I
rose
was
thing.
looking for the one on the shoe, but
No,
I can't see that.
no. And I created.
That's a
well,
pretty
let me.
color.
The shoe itself. I have to take it off because I bought the shoe. And then I put the design because I love shoes, and I put the design on. So yeah, no roses on the shoe.
But you have enough on you too.
I do. I'm rosed out.
So going back to your days before the roses, you were what were you saying you were doing?
I had another jewelry
Oh,
company.
you had a jewelry company, but it wasn't. So
okay.
you weren't yet
No.
already into jewelry.
I was already in, and I
Okay.
taught myself. I had one friend show me how to crimp, and then I just did it. I just said, okay, I can figure this out, and I did, and I was very successful for a long period of time. But it was all about giving back and
Right.
talking about my niece and sharing my niece with people. And then, you know, God closed that door. You know, it was after, which, by the way, today is the day that my dad went to heaven back in 2017. And then my mom went 3 days later. So after that, and doors were closing, you know, for
Yeah.
Sparkle of
Right.
Life.
Yeah.
And I said to my husband, I said, listen, I really need to grieve my parents because they died the end of October. I had shows in November and December. And I literally just collapsed after that. And I said, you know, Lord, what's next? And so I started focusing on Rosie's Garden with my business partner.
And that's that personally is how I've found that when something major happens in your life and
Yeah.
doors are closed to you, when that happens to you, God will begin to open other doors in different
Exactly.
directions.
Yep.
He wants you to go in a different direction than where you were going.
Yeah.
And
Just-
that's why that works that way.
Yeah.
And I lost my daughter just nearly 2 years ago now, but I
so sorry.
started the show here about a month after she passed.
Isn't that
And you know what?
amazing?
I just realized that having had this conversation.
Wow.
Doors do open.
They do.
And I had not met Dawn
Absolutely,
and
and
Freddie, but I
Yeah.
came into the studio directly after that.
Uh-huh.
So it is incredible
Yeah.
how this happens.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Because I found myself, I said I was going after my wife passed this year. I found myself going in a different direction. I didn't see it really as another door opening, but as I went in that direction, the doors just
They will open. It's just
They
being
do.
aware
Sometimes you got to kick it down.
Yeah.
you have the awareness.
But
and if you don't have that awareness, you don't know, right?
But if you're, like I said, if you have determination,
Exactly.
and you want to do something, and I feel if God wants you to do it, you'll get it done.
He'll provide the
You'll-
path.
You'll do it.
Yeah, and he'll bring the people in. And that's the thing. And when I said you got to kick the door down, I didn't mean that, because, it's God's timing. And so and I'm very clear. I don't want to force anything, because it's
Right.
not going to work. You're going to waste a lot of time doing something you shouldn't be doing.
But, and also it's having faith, because people are watching, and we all have our own built-in belief system.
Right.
But I think it's so important, that faith, and it especially in the world as it is today.
Oh my gosh, right.
So this was a very appropriate
Yeah,
subject.
we need
and
more of
everything.
God, not less of
Yeah.
Yeah,
God.
absolutely. And to
Yeah.
hear stories like what happened to you, it gives us hope.
Yeah.
Hope and faith, right?
I love to hear stories like yours, because it's so inspirational.
Exactly,
And I think
exactly.
everybody at home can really get something from this, because this is how things really can work. And,
Yeah, and the spirit of an entrepreneur, right?
Yes,
You
yeah.
both are entrepreneurs. You're artists, but you're also business people. And not, you have to persevere. No one motivates you.
No.
You have to motivate yourself.
Right.
So, yeah, that's
I mean,
so
there are
important.
many times just for myself that I said to myself, I don't know how much more I can do or take. But I obviously didn't eventually give up. Was it an easy road? No, absolutely not. But sometimes that
Exactly.
difficulty, which we were just talking about before, is what makes this even more important and more understanding, because you see all the things that have happened along the way. If it just came to you, I'm not
You wouldn't
saying-
appreciate it,
No,
right?
you get it
you
a
take
step
for
at a time.
granted. And you know what?
And I think
Exactly.
that everything that I get is like spoon-fed to me. It's just like
Right.
take this step, go this way, and then what? Wait until you get to there, and
Yeah.
then go to the. Then you go to the. You don't just take giant steps, and because you'll mess it up.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
really,
Well, you're not
that's what-
equipped.
Right.
So the journey equips you. The
Perfect,
challenges equip
Yeah.
you for
Right.
what's coming.
Right.
Because there's so much more depth and meaning into it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is how it's so good to pass on stories like this, and to have our program. We try to
Right.
incorporate what's happened
Right.
to people along the way.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a wonderful,
Yeah,
wonderful story.
That we
Dawn.
want, we like people to know that anything that's created by people, I mean,
Yes.
that's artists or creative people, it doesn't just happen.
No, it
You know,
does not.
It doesn't just happen. There's a lot that goes into it. You can't just say, "Oh, I like that. I like that artwork. Can you make me one?" Well,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the thing is, because I think we're coming to the end, and you always, I know, have a beautiful asking artists or whatever. So I'm going to turn that over
and
to you,
that's-
because we're coming to the end of the show.
because,
They just gave us the
so
warning.
So anyway, thank you, Dawn, for joining us today.
Thank
and,
you.
we really appreciate your story and having you on here, and we love to talk to you. And thank you very much for tuning into our show today, and we hope that you were a bit inspired by this. And we hope to see you next time, and please watch us, because we are always looking for creative people. If you want to be on the show, just please give us a call at the studio at 1-888-994-4995.
And I think Dawn deserves an applause.
Very
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Inside the Artist's Mind. We hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week as we explore more about the artist's passions and inspirations.